the Disney Company. You can love it, you can hate it, but you can never escape it. That's their new slogan. Before, they only did live action remakes, but after they made this, Disney made games. Some were great, some were all right, and some were Cars 2, the video game. But I'm not going to be talking about these console games because I don't want to mention The Door to Darkness.
Say, fellas, did somebody mention The Door to Darkness?
No one mentioned The Door to Darkness. I also didn't really play these games. What I did play, though, were Disney Online games. Disney had a handful of MMOs they released and killed over the course of about 15 years. It all started in 2003 with the release of their magnum opus, Toontown Online. This is a silly game where you play it as your own toon. Here's Jimmy Sourstink, and you just kind of virtually chill with your friends, play mini games, go fishing. Oh, and save Toontown from a colonization effort led by the Cogs. I have to stop myself from going on a schizo rant about this game, so I'm just going to say a few things. Toontown was a strangely immersive and funny game, even though half the jokes were about the corporate world, which is the perfect humor for a game aimed at 7-year-olds. The world was cohesive and detailed, and the whole game was so charming and really impressive for 2003. You could see the effort and care they put into this money-making machine of a kid's game. Next was Virtual Magic Kingdom. Released in 2005, all you did in this game was hang out in a virtual and desolate Disneyland. I'd never heard of this game before, and I only lasted 5 minutes in it. It was too empty. I got scared. This was basically a shittier version of Club Penguin. Make virtual friends, play mini games, and deck out your avatar. Originally released in 2005, Club Penguin was acquired by Disney in 2007. Do I even need to explain this one? It's like Virtual Magic Kingdom, but good. Pirates of the Caribbean Online was the first of these games to be completely based on an existing franchise. Okay, I can hear my 8-year-old self crying because I basically skipped over Club Penguin. So let's go back to that. Club Penguin has you playing as a penguin who lives happily in a San Francisco townhouse with their fiancée, Lisa. One day, inexplicably, she gets bored and decides to seduce your best friend, Mark. From there, nothing will ever be the same again. Wait. That's the plot of The Room. In Club Penguin, you make an avatar and you virtually chill, play mini games, go clubbing, adopt a pile of pubes, decorate your igloo, and have crazy ragers. You could also train to become a ninja or a secret agent. I'm not completely over the fact that I lost my progress not once, but twice. I'm gonna be honest, this bitterness is really affecting how I remember the game. I know I would only clock in like 2 hours a year, but the wound is still fresh. It feels like just a year ago when I was logging on in the middle of a lecture only to find out that the game had been shut down 3 days prior. All right, let's go back to Pirates of the Caribbean Online. This was released in Halloween 2007, and for good reason. It's the only game to not have an E rating. It's E10 and up. Like the rest of these, you customize your character, but you also fuck shit up as a pirate. You can go on some quests, make your own crew, play poker, customize your whip, not your crib, and go fish. Pixie Hollow released the following year and showed that Disney was in full MMO swing. Or so we thought. This game was for girls, so obviously I never played it as a kid. I had better things to do. Unrelated, but did you know ants are spicy? I am a good host though, so I did do some research on what this game has to offer. You make a fairy, duh. Decorate your home, obviously. Do quests, where have you been? Play mini games. Are these all just the same game? Hang out with friends. And finally, we have World of Cars Online, which released in 2010. This was basically everything I just listed, but you're a car. And I know no one's gonna care that I cheesed this one because no one played this dookie-ass game. So Disney had 5 similar-ish games with the same subscription model by 2010. 6 if you include the already executed Virtual Magic Kingdom, which didn't have the subscription model, but bear with me for just a second. 3 years later, they had one. They had one game. So what happened between 2010 and 2013? Gangnam Style dropped, but that's unrelated. One of the main reasons these games were killed was because there was a traitor among them, with an A-shaped body, an oval thing on their face, and an art style that reeked of old Flash games. Club Penguin. After Disney bought Club Penguin in 2007, they slowly shifted their focus towards it, eventually only focusing on it. This was by far their most successful game. Club Penguin had more players than Barbados had people. And that's where Rihanna is from. That's kind of a big deal. I think Club Penguin's accessibility was the main contributor behind its success. It was easy to understand and it ran on any computer. There were no fancy 3D graphics that your mouse-powered PC had to render or quests that your mouse-powered brain had to do to progress. You just click, play mini games, and work part-time at the pizza parlor that was actually required to play. Basically, Club Penguin was huge, and Disney knew that, so they put all their eggs into that basket and neglected the rest of their kids and let them just starve. But not even Club Penguin was immune to the second and more dangerous threat these games were facing: a shift in casual gaming. The subscription model that all these games used were falling out of fashion, which is kind of ironic now. The new generation of kids were either playing mobile games or Minecraft or eating cinnamon. Mobile gaming obliterated the competition in the casual market. These games were free with ads or microtransactions to fund them, which looks a lot better than paying monthly for a game that isn't always super engaging. Take Toontown, for example. These tasks where you run back and forth between two NPCs were not entertaining or fun. You know what is fun though? Riddles. And riddle me this: why is my pee red? These games, other than Toontown, could only offer so many hours of gameplay before they get kind of stale. By the time 2013 rolled around, people playing casual games had so many other options with their smartphones, consoles, or computers, and these alternatives were often much cheaper and more entertaining than Disney's outdated subscription-based games. It wasn't sustainable for Disney to keep paying for the continued development and maintenance of these games when people were moving on and not paying monthly for a game. Disney Interactive, the part of Disney that does the gaming, had major layoffs in 2011 and 2012, and they even announced that they were restructuring their company to adapt to market trends. The writing was on the wall, and that writing said, kill all the games. So on September 19th, 2013, Disney shut down Toontown, Pixie Hollow, and Pirates of the Caribbean Online, just over 10 years after they released their first online game. As for the other games, Virtual Magic Kingdom was killed in 2008, just before Pixie Hollow released. Cars Online was killed in 2012, just a year before these other games released. And Club Penguin wouldn't reach the guillotine until 2017. There was also Club Penguin Island, but that didn't even last a year. This pile of shit lasted longer than that. Although the closure of these games caused irreparable pain and suffering, it was kind of a good thing for the consumer. The fan revival of Toontown Online, Toontown Rewritten, has added new content and engaged with the community more than Disney ever did in the last few years of the game's life. They've added things that were planned for the original game and never released, and I'm pretty sure they consult with the original team so that all these new additions still feel in line with the original game. Club Penguin has also had several fan revivals, so we now have the option of playing the original old school Club Penguin or the newer, more bloated version that it became by the end of its life. I'm still bitter about Club Penguin Rewritten shutting down, so I'm just gonna move on. The rest of these games all have their own fan revivals, and the best part is you don't have to pay a cent or $1 or a peso or anything like that. You just have to submit a picture of your feet and you're in. The only real downsides to these fan revivals is that 1, the player bases are much smaller for each game than they were during the game's original life. And 2, if Mickey wakes up in a pissy mood on any given day, he can kill any one of these games with the snap of his fingers in his dope-ass white gloves. Also, the world of Cars Online is the only one of these games that doesn't have a fan revival. Even Virtual Magic Kingdom does, so I don't know, take that as you will. So Disney had some online games that weren't great as an adult, but as a kid, these games ruled. First of all, they were so much fun. You could play these games with your friend while you both were at home. I don't know what I did to the phone bill talking on the home phone with my friend while playing Toontown for hours, but I promise you, Dad, it was worth it. These games felt limitless. Second, these games gave kids somewhere to play safely on the internet. Disney heavily censored what you could say, so it was hard to dox yourself. and kids love doing that. Obviously, it wasn't 100% foolproof, but it was probably the best we had at the time, and it's probably better than what we have now. Third, these games were kind of a good learning tool. I learned a lot from playing Club Penguin in Toontown growing up, and my brother literally learned how to read and write from playing Toontown so much. The way Toontown's chat worked was that they had a whitelist of words, so anything that wasn't already approved, you couldn't say. So from trial and error, he would learn how to type words correctly because it would not let him say words that were incorrectly spelled. And finally, these games were pretty good, both in terms of gameplay and style. I was being a little harsh earlier. They're not horrible games, especially for kids games. They all had depth to them, whether it was a massive map you had to explore, strategies you had to learn, puzzles you had to solve, or anything else to get your little Go-Gurt brain moving. Disney also put actual effort into how their games looked, which might not seem that important, but each game had such a charming and unique art style that you could really immerse yourself into as a kid. I don't know what looking at Roblox's ugly-ass skid mark avatars is doing to the development of kids, but it can't be a good thing. Disney's online games were a great thing to have as a kid, and even though they're gone now, they will never be forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. It's not a monthly subscription, I promise. And I don't know. Get off your phone.